Evan Baumgardner, EBHypnosis, coming to you live and direct today on the live stream of consciousness. Um, I'm on Instagram too right now. So if you're watching me on Facebook, give me a follow there. Instagram followers, I'm still doing the two camera thing. Damn you, Mark Zuckerberg. Give me the live producer thing for Instagram. Come on. This is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm doing the two camera thing, but honestly, I like how things look better on my Facebook and YouTube stream. Using Restream with everything. So I apologize, Instagram followers. I'm probably going to be ignoring you and focusing more over here. So find me on YouTube at Life is Just Beginning on there. That's my channel. So let's see. I know yesterday I put out a call asking for topics. What do you guys want to hear about? Because I could just, I mean, this is, after all, the live stream of consciousness. So I could just go on about anything for a while. I could be talking. I could just tell a story about how when my best friend moved from Seattle back to North Carolina, we did a road trip cross country helping him move. It was something like we hadn't done anything like that since college, and we're somewhere in the middle of America, just playing music and everything. And the song Major Tom by Tom Schilling comes on, and we're listening to it, and there's a line in that song where it's like, here comes a final message, and is give my wife my love and nothing more. And I took it as like, all right, his transmission's going dead or whatever. And as what I always thought. Until my buddy says, I thought it was weird that, like he was asking ground control not to have sex with his wife. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he says, give my wife my love and nothing more. I'm like, well, I just figured that there was nothing more to the message. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, no, I can see how you think that, but if you watch the video, it doesn't seem like that. And so I bought myself, I pulled it up on YouTube, and you can go check it out. But it's like, okay, it's like the TV, and Major Tom's wife is there, and then there's like some like shirtless muscle guy in the back ironing or something, and it's weird. And I'm like, okay, maybe he has a point. Maybe Major Tom is asking ground control not to go have sex with his wife. And so that's something like I could just tell stories like that all day. So I appreciate it when, because I do want to keep this kind of on topic for things that are useful for people watching. So having those suggestions so I can keep things in line really helps. And today's comes from Nora. Thank you. And one of the things was, talk about how does consciousness affect or create reality? And, it is interesting because it definitely affects reality, right? And how much it creates it. I mean, we can say I do believe in an objective reality, but how we experience things, that's, our perception in the moment is based on our cognitive biases and what we have there. So my reality at one time was Major Tom was floating in space and his radio cuts out, and he's his final signal before he dies a horrible death is give my wife my love, and then it goes dead, nothing more. But then based on this conversation with my friend and then seeing the video, I'm like, okay, maybe that isn't the reality. So I mean, the consciousness definitely affected it. Does it create a reality where now, that's why I believe it doesn't necessarily make it true, but it definitely affects our viewpoint on things. So there was a point to that story. But I mean, we have cognitive biases that affect how we, look at things in any given situation. If we're in a bad mood, we're more likely to find things that are going to piss us off. There's something else to get angry about, right? And that's because, okay, this emotion's coming up, and if we're accessing it, the subconscious is just going, oh, you want more of that? Here, here, here. We do have, it's also like, okay, if you're thinking about buying a car and like, okay, or maybe you just buy a car, like you go buy a Jeep and then suddenly you see every other car on the road is a Jeep that you never, it's like, wow, I didn't realize how many there were before. That's a cognitive bias. I mean, reality isn't changing. It's the same number of cars, but our experience of it has altered because of that, because now we're looking for something more. And humans have a negativity bias. So it's a survival mechanism, because if everything that we do, even our most destructive behaviors, are meant to help us in some way, provide some benefit, I guess, somewhere way down in there, it's like, yeah, I know this is really harmful to me, but I'm doing it anyway because there is some belief somewhere deep down in that subconscious, unconscious mind that's saying this helps, this makes this more painful thing go away. And again, negativity bias. If something is harmful to us, we're going to avoid it. And I mean, that goes to just anything that just makes us uncomfortable. We have that instinct to avoid it. And so we notice those things more than we do the good things. That's why we have to keep telling ourselves to stop and smell the roses, appreciate the little things, and why it's such a challenge for us to be present in the moment is because we're looking for these things to keep us safe as we navigate the world. So we're not falling into, quicksand or something like that, how it evolved from. Keeping out, oh, there's a saber-toothed tiger who's going to eat me. We notice that, and that stands out a lot more because it's a threat versus, oh, that's a nice tree that I go by every day, and it just kind of fades into the background. So I definitely think our consciousness affects our reality. Our mood affects our reality. Just the space that we're in that time, wherever our perception is, affects what we say about our reality. But as far as creating it goes, I mean, like I said, I think there's an objective reality, but then, as we participate in it, that changes it. We impact it, just our actions. And, we can't help but kind of do things a certain way. I'm a determinist. So what that means is, I think everything is kind of based off a, chain of events that occurred before. And we can trace that back to the very beginning of time. If we had the ability to. Um, Essentially, there is no free will. We make decisions, we experience things as if there were, but at the end of the day, when we make those decisions, we're using the information that we have of the world around us to make the best possible decision in that moment based on prior knowledge that we've gained. And where does that start? I mean, we could say, oh, we're blank slates as babies, but not really, because we have genetics that are already influencing us from our parents. And then there's upbringing, because our subconscious is a blank slate, right? And that's what kids are sponges. They're taking in all this information. It's Johnny Five in Short Circuit, flipping through every book he sees, going input, and learning about the world. And that shapes it. And then our experiences shape us as we create a map of reality. And then we go by that. That's the blueprint from which we experience things. And and we can change that. But what's that change? Where does that come from? It comes from someplace else inside of us, where it's like, nope, this has to change. And we change it because we've gotten to that point where we have to, based on who we are, what we've learned as we careen through life. Um, so is are the decisions we make really ours? I don't think so, but I also don't think that it matters. So, because some people find that like a scary, scary thought. I find it very comforting because we're exactly where we need to be at any given moment, and we get to choose it from there. Because if we don't know any better, I mean, what does it matter? I mean, I also, because of that, I also believe in the many worlds theory. So it's like, I think there's a parallel reality where the opposite decision's being made. I'm just experiencing this one. So it's okay. I mean, like, doesn't really make a difference to me. Um, but, we want to have that best possible outcome. And I think recognizing where our own sort of personal biases come in, and what lens we're looking at the world from, can affect things more. So that is kind of where I was going. Some of that. See, for those of you on Facebook, I'm gonna change up the lower third. If you're watching on Facebook, you want to leave comments, join in. And you could go to chat.restream.io/FB and connect, so I can see your name and see who you are. And yeah, so there's that. Let's see. And the next thing was kind of like asking about I mean, fate. I kind of went into that with determinism and Jung's uh take on the unconscious and fate. Now, when it comes to fate, like like I said, with determinism, I don't believe that there's free will in its truest sense. Like I said, it doesn't matter if there is or not, because to us, the way we experience it, it is. We're making decisions. Like, even though our subconscious mind, that signal of what we're going to do next has already gone through before we even take the action, before we become consciously aware of it. There's science backing me up on that. But we're playing it out, and we experience it as if we do have a choice, even if we actually don't, based on like how we've been influenced and what our map of reality says that we do, the blueprint that we're going by. So whether or not that's true, it doesn't matter because it feels like we're doing it. And that's what matters, is like what it feels like. And then how can we get it to feel better if we don't like it? Um Now, as far as Jung goes, let's see. With that talk about fate and the unconscious, I think it's kind of like a famous quote of his. It's let's see. Until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct you, and you will call it fate. And some of that is like, without diving into Young, I'm not super, you know, familiar with his works. I'm not an expert. I have about the same level or a little higher as somebody that shares little inspirational memes with quotes on it, but not much else. I haven't done a really deep dive in him since I was like young, and that was mostly about like his dream stuff because I was super into that and the archetypes and things. But if we go into that, talking about the shadow part of ourselves, Jung says everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well meant intentions. So that basically means like the more we try to avoid or repress our negative emotions, I don't like saying negative, heavy, uncomfortable, but I don't, going back to everything else, I don't want to apply value judgments to it because they have a purpose that's supposed to be beneficial. But the more we try to avoid or repress or suppress those, or the things that we're afraid of or just our flaws, the more they come up in destructive ways. And that means that, until we accept, acknowledge, welcome, and integrate it, as Jung would say, we can't let go. And it's going to sort of drive us, and it's going to be like, oh, well, I have bad luck or something like that, you know? And then we get stuck down in apathy where it's like, oh, well, nothing ever works out for me. Oh, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. If we have good intentions, we get stuck down there, and again, we act out. We're reactive to the emotions that we feel in destructive ways. And I think about this like early on when I was dealing with anxiety, and I was treating it as a flu, a cold, something that I had to fight and you know conquer and get better from. And that wasn't the case at all. It wasn't until I was like, yeah, you know what, this is here, it's not going away, but like, let's make a deal, because going off like this, that shit ain't gonna fly. Um, but we had to accept that first, and then it got better. And like I always say, you can't let go of something you don't welcome in first. And I think that is such an important thing when it comes to releasing emotions. I mean, it makes us more self-aware at the end of the day. And as we gain that awareness, then we learn that we don't have to be reactive to the things that we feel. We can find a better way, and a way that's constructive versus destructive. And that's whether it's like instead of blowing up when you're angry, channeling that anger into something positive, whether or beneficial, whether that is cleaning the house or what have you. Um, let's see. Sorry, I am just checking on things here because I'm trying to see if I am in fact live on Facebook, and it looks like I am. Hey, there I am in the other window. That's okay. That's cool. So it's working. Oh wow, it's even like captioning me right now. So I don't know if anybody can see it. So this is something that I've noticed after streams is like it shows up, but then it has like a little padlock by it, and I don't know how to change the settings on that. At least like on my personal page. Um, Hopefully, it's not doing that on my business page too. But I'm gonna take a look at that. So sorry, we're doing testing at the same time, and oh no, there we are. So say hi everybody, my business page. Okay, so sorry about that. But yeah, that I think with all of this, this is why hypnosis is so beneficial to so many people, is because we get to make those changes to our subconscious that we know we want to make. We want to turn the lens and look through something else. Like, you think of it like you're at the eye doctor. Is number one, number two? Well, we don't want number one, but that's not strong enough. We want number two so we can see things clearly and go through life actually, happy. Um, or at least up in, courage, acceptance, love, and peace, setting the baseline up in those higher, more flowing emotions. So, and with that, it's like, all right, what we focus on expands. And like I said, going back to buying a new car, you get a car, okay, and suddenly every other car you see on the road is that. It's because you just got this car and you're like happy, you're focused on it. And then you just start noticing it everywhere. And hypnosis allows us to make those changes. So like we're not looking for the shit that's kept us stuck. That we've been looking for. We can actually just look at where we are, look in the present, look at how far we've come and everything that we've got to look forward to as we move towards our goals. And that is, I think, like the most important thing. Otherwise, we just keep doing the same stuff again and again and again because we're not making those shifts. We're not getting the animal primordial lizard brain on board with what our conscious overlay wants. It's running off of instinct, it's running off of raw emotion, and our consciousness is there going, yeah, you know what, consciously I want this, but it's not changing that because it's so primal and it's just survival. It's like avoid pain, avoid discomfort, even though we need to feel a level of discomfort. I'm not saying like so much that that we can't handle it, but we need tension. We need that tension to build the muscles, and whether that's working out or just going through life and dealing with like the same bullshit that we have to deal with every day. Tension is what helps us grow. And subconsciously, because it's uncomfortable, and everything that we do has some sort of beneficial protective purpose behind it, right? So we're trying to avoid discomfort. And it is easy to focus on everything that's going wrong and not the things that are going right, again, because we have that negativity bias in there. And that's not saying that, like, oh, okay, this thing that was horrible for me is actually a good thing. No, it's not. It's not. And like I always say, if somebody shits in your shoe and hands it to you and tells you it's a Sunday, you don't have to accept it and go, boy, no. No, it's shit in the shoe. You go, what the hell is this? No, I don't want that. Bring me some damn ice cream. You don't accept it. You call it what it is. But that doesn't mean like that our lives are ruined because of that, or that we can't, then ever go out and enjoy ice cream. But pretending like that is a Sunday doesn't do you any good either. So, and then, I can go into this whole thing about toxic positivity, but I'm going to save that for another day. So yeah, but yeah, we have to, I guess things will feel like fate. I mean, even when we take charge of it, like my entry, excuse me, into hypnosis and doing this work, it kind of feels like fate, in a way. I don't believe in fate as a determinant. So it seems to go against it, but like fate means like, you can't change. With determinism, if one thing is different, everything else is, because there's so many different factors. We just can't know. We're going to do what we do with whatever's put in front of us, and more like a pinball bouncing around, or like physics. And what's happened. And dwelling on that doesn't do me any good. Worrying about the effects of that down the road doesn't do me any good. I need to be in the now. What can I do now? And when we can find whatever thread that we need to pull ourselves into the present and go, well, how can I make this the best day ever? Even with everything going wrong, like, you go, okay, this is a terrible day. How can I make it just, again, 1% better? That starts to shift our perception. Again, because just small gains. We don't have to do everything all at once. Just get a little bit, and then a little more, and then a little more, and a little more. In no time at all, if that 1% compounding interest takes over, our lives will change radically. Do you want to call that creating a new reality? You can. Definitely affecting it. Definitely affecting our perceptions. So, at the end of the day, if it works, it works. So does it really matter? It's fun to think about, though. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for watching, and be seeing you.